Megan Hicks of I Run Far. I'm with Anna Mae Flynn. It's a couple of days before the 2019 The North Face Endurance Challenge 50-mile championships. So it's raining outside now, so we've brought the interview indoors.
Yes, we're here in the garlic room.
We're in one of the meeting rooms at the Holiday Inn Express Mill Valley, and somebody ate garlic in here.
Yes, it's definitely very potent.
All right, you're here to race the 50-mile race on Saturday. Now, I like to think of you as like a, I don't know, like a rare mystical cat that you spend most of your time hiding up in the mountains, doing hard workouts, and then once in a while you come down and pounce on the competition. So you decided to come pounce.
I guess, yeah, you could say that. I'm trying to be like the Zach Miller of the female.
Yeah,
female version of Zach Miller.
Yeah.
Like living up at 9,000 feet. Just people don't really know what I'm doing up there. Is it snowing? Am I just walking around snowshoeing? You know? Yeah.
Living like a snow yeti.
Yeah, doing the snow yeti life, and then coming down from the mountains to race with the women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But sort of what I've seen from you from the last couple of years is that you are less frequently turning up at races, but when you do, it seems like you know you're ready to give it and the performance is there.
Yeah, I think I used to race a lot more frequently, and I think I was just trying to understand the ultra racing, how to perform in an ultra race, and
which you like never actually figure out.
Yeah, you never actually figure out, but I think like, after a little bit, you're like, okay, I can race a 50K. And you kind of dial in your training for that. And then now that I'm getting into the 50 milers, it's like, okay, like I know that I'm going to have to spend a lot more time training in a training block than I would for a shorter race.
So let's talk about your 2019. I think we last saw you race in person at Lake Sonoma, where you had a hell of a like super hot finish to take over the lead and win within sight of the finish. And then after that was Speed Goat. And tell me, you had some other shorter races here and there in there. Yeah,
I had a Cirque Series race for Speed Goat and then one after. And then since then I took about 3 weeks to a month off of running, and then have just been building back into base training. And with that, what I've learned with base training is I'm still doing workouts, but it's just a little bit more like lower intensity volume. So
more volume, but the workouts are a little bit less intensity than when you're trying to sharpen up at the end.
Right. Yeah. Just getting a little bit of intervals, but not as many like tempo runs, and building my long run, but not worrying so much about how fast I'm going.
Got it.
Yeah.
So from what I understood, you have been on the entrance list of North Face for a while, but you've been like kind of hemming and hawing. Am I going to do it? Am I not going to do it? What made you like pull the trigger and decide to show up and do this?
I think just really thinking about my next season's goals, and I eventually want to be on the start line of Western States, and feel like I can prove that in a golden ticket race, but then to double the distance, or I guess it'd be longer, TNFs, 50. Sorry, so if I were to double it to 100, it's a lot different in terms of training, and I think for me it's just a different skill set that I don't think I have, and that's the strength component. I think that I'm working in strength training into my training, but I'm noticing that there's some weaknesses that I need to work on in order to execute 100. So anyway,
you want to run Western States in the near future, and you want to try to build skills in like the longer ultras, building toward that.
Right. Yeah. And so when I look to 2020, I need to just not think about Western States, I think, because if I did, then I don't think it would make sense for me to do TNF 50 right now.
Yeah. But here we are.
Yes, here we are.
The start line or the start list for the women's race in my mind is pretty fun. Like it's got some, women who are proven at this distance, women who are proven at other 50 milers, and then a couple like you're a fast marathoner, but you haven't raced over 50K. How's this going to go?
Right.
Yeah. What are you thinking about the competition?
Oh man. I was actually pretty surprised that I was so far up on the iRun Far preview. Like someone said something. I don't know. Someone was just like, "Oh my God, you're now third. You're third, and now Ruth Croft's not running, so you're second. So that means it's between you and Claire." And I'm like, "What? Like who's racing?" So then I looked, and then I was like, "EO has a faster 50 miler. Like Devin, well, she's not racing."
You just beat EO.
Yeah, I know, but it's like, and then Keely has a faster 50 miler time. So I think it just depends on the day. And even though, I've had a successful race performance against some of those females in the spring, there's been 3 months or 4 months since then. And, it's still an ultra. So, and it's also EO's backyard. So home turf is kind of hard to compete with.
It's hard to race against the hometown favorite on hometown terrain. Yeah. But we did just have the World Series, where the World Series was won on away terrain. So it can happen. It
can happen. Yeah. So you're saying there's a chance. So that's why I'm here.
That's my favorite line. So you're saying there's a chance.
Yeah. So you're saying there's a chance, and so I showed up. Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You said off camera right before we started this interview was that you aren't here to mess around. You might run more aggressively and maybe take more chances than usual in ultras. What is that? What does that actually mean?
Well, I have a plan A and I have a plan B goal
and a C, D, E,
and a C, D, E, F. Yes, but I'm hoping that the A or B works out.
Okay.
But yeah, basically when I decided I was going to race, I was like I said, the Western state. If I'm not focusing on Western states or thinking about Lake Sonoma or a golden ticket race, then it's then if I'm here, I might as well just go out like a crazy, I don't know, mountain woman and see what happens. Not a crazy mountain woman, but I'll definitely try to push with the lead pack.
Now, from my perspective, the women's race at the very front is interesting. So among the favorites are you and EO.
Mm-hmm. And Claire.
Yeah. But neither you or EO have nailed this race.
Yeah.
You both nailed other 50-mile races, but neither of you have had your day at this race yet.
Yeah. So true. Yeah.
Any reflections on that?
Yeah.
And then you've got Claire, who was second last time. So
yeah. I would say, I think, or having that kind of pressure that you put on yourself, of course, to perform at a distance that you're known to be successful at, but then a course that you haven't succeeded at accomplishing. It's hard to think about in terms of preparing mentally. It's I know that I've gotten to the 50K mark and I felt good there, and then I didn't, and then
it's still 20 miles.
And there's still 20 miles to go. So I think it's just trusting in yourself and that you can run the distance, and it's fast and flowy, and I've been training for that, so I feel like I can do it.
A lot of people say that 50 miles is an easier ultra because it's it's not so long, it's not so short. But in my mind, the middle distances in track and field are in my mind the hardest races, and this is kind of the middle distance
of ultra running.
It's not slow, it's not fast, it's not over pretty quick, it's not over tomorrow. I think it's really tricky.
I think you're right. I've been talking to some friends about that. So it's the middle distance. You're a middle distance ultra runner, and I'm like, I think that's kind of where I fit, that's my place.
Is that what we want to term it? That sounds really messed up.
Yeah. But I was like, I think someone had mentioned something about Spigo, and they're like, oh, you still got it. And I'm like, what? It's only been 2 weeks. What does that mean? Yeah. And they're like, you got some legs. I'm like, what? Because I ran a 50K? Yeah. So, it's kind of interesting how there's, that terminology.
Well, best of luck to you to
Thank
putting
you.
everything together on
Thanks.
Saturday.
Thank you.
We look forward to chasing you through the Marin Headlands.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing you out there.